All right, today on the channel, we are returning back to our roots. We're going to do a tier list, but this time it's going to be dynamic microphones. This is going to be all the dynamic microphones that I have used in my 20 years of working in audio without budgetary restrictions. So this is going to be everything from the $100 microphones all the way up to the like $1,250 dynamic microphones. So yeah, let's go categorize some stuff. All right, I'm excited. I like doing these little tier list videos. They're a fun time. They're just a fun, goofy YouTube time. I will say, every time I put out one of these videos, without fail, it will ruffle some feathers. So I just want to say this just right out the gate, just to get this straight. If I put a microphone that you personally own in one of the lower tiers, it doesn't mean that you make bad music or anything like that. It just means that we have a different personal taste in microphones, which, think about all the problems that exist in the world. That is one that's like hardly a thing that should even register. So let's just have a fun time with this. That's just what it's for. It's fun. Let's just have fun. But if I've hurt you, let me know in the comments down below. Okay, let's define our terms. So up at the very top is God tier. We all said simultaneously because YouTube. I don't make the rules. This is just how it is. Below that, we've got excellent choice, Bob. My father-in-law, his name is Bob. He was just here helping us out with some stuff, so excellent choice, Bob. Then below that, we've got maybe my favorite mid-tier like title. It'll work. I mean, that's true. Like, there's so many microphones that kind of fit into that category where it's like, it might not be my personal favorite, but it'll work. It's fine. Let's move on, you know? And then below that, we've got, towards the bottom, makes a face. Like, there are some microphones that do cause you to just crinkle your nose just a little bit, and you're just like, like, it's fine. Again, it's like that it'll work category, but you just think about, like, the extra work it's going to take in post or something, you know? You're just like, it's fine. And then down at the bottom, at the very bottom, we've got, don't do it, Ethan. And if your name is Ethan, the message is clear. Don't do it. So, all right, let's just go ahead and jump right on in. So the Rode Podmic, this one I can confidently put in makes a face. I have mixed a lot of podcast episodes that use this particular mic. It's not a favorite. It's one of those where it's like you can get 3 of these for the cost of like one SM7B. And I understand, and it's like, it's Podmic, it's made for podcasting, right? And like, you think about that. If you're thinking about this mic, I may gently nudge you towards like an SM58 as opposed to this, because I feel like it's a better use of money, honestly. With a lot of Rode mics, not just this one, but with a lot of Rode mics, the top end doesn't always agree with the voice. It doesn't always disagree, but it doesn't always agree. With the Rode Podmic, I've just noticed that it disagrees more often. And so because of that, I'm going to make a face. Like, it's fine. I can get it there, but I just know the extra work it's going to take. It's that papery top end. It's just not my personal favorite, so makes a face. Okay, moving on. SM57. Let's not waste any time. God tier. Let's be totally honest. Like, we all expected this, right? Like, I feel like we should all unanimously agree on this. I feel like most engineers that I've talked to about the SM57, they would probably confidently put it in the same spot. I don't know. There's at least 1 or 2 that disagree with me. Again, let me know in the comments. But yeah, for me, it's like, yeah, this is the microphone that's the crescent wrench. Like, it can do any job, and it can do that job pretty well. Are there tools that are maybe better specified for 1 or 2 jobs? Absolutely. But this can get you there, and I think it's a great mic. Somebody in my comments said it's the Honda Accord of microphones. I also like that because you definitely get a lot of mileage out of it. All right, moving on. All right, real quick, I got 3 things, and we'll get right back to the video. Thing number 1, you should subscribe to this channel. You should. There's some cool stuff coming up. So, for example, I'm getting to know this microphone, right? This is the Roswell Mini K87. The reason why I'm getting to know this microphone, it's going to be included in a shootout of the Neumann U87, the $3,250-ish microphone, versus all of the sub $1,000 microphones that I can get my hands on that are like 87 style. So that's going to be super cool. Don't miss that. Number 2, use the links in my description down below. They help this channel out exponentially so, like more than you might think. So if you're interested in the mics that I'm talking about today, use the links. Or if you're just like, hey, I need to get some guitar strings, like use those links, any of the links, and then go type in your guitar strings, order them. I get a small kickback for that. So I appreciate you. Last but not least, if you are an artist, solo artist, or a band and you're on the East Coast, like DC, Baltimore, Philly, like somewhere in that little pocket of the East Coast, and you would like to be featured on my channel, I am looking for artists to record to include in the content that I create. Of course, the recordings would be for free. You wouldn't have to pay for them. They would be killer recordings. But I am looking for artists that are comfortable with me documenting the recording process so that I can create more high quality content. So if you're interested in that, the email to reach me at is all the way down at the very bottom of the description. That is my email. Reach out to me and yeah, maybe we can work something out. All right, let's get back to the video. Okay, this is the AKG D112. It'll work. As a kick drum mic, it is not my personal favorite. It's a little clicky. It's got a lot of attack, a lot of point, and I'm not always looking for just a ton of attack or click or point out of the kick drum mic. So I typically choose other ones. Like this will work for the most part. Like it's fine. I'll get it there. But yeah, it's just if I've got access to other mics, I would probably use a different microphone personally. Although I will say this, it can work. Here's a little secret sauce for you. As a background vocal microphone. Like not even kidding. Like I know it sounds like I'm shrooming or something, but like as a background vocal, it is great. It is really good. It's so naturally scooped that it just supports the lead vocal without like getting in the way. It's really nice for that. The first time I saw that was on the Tegan and Sarah documentary where Chris Walla was recording them and producing that record, The Con. And I saw him put that up as a vocal mic and I was like, what is he doing? And then when I heard it, I was like, oh yeah, that actually sounds good. And then I tried it and it worked out great. So background vocal microphone, excellent. Kick drum microphone, it's fine. All right, Sennheiser, the 441. These are cool. I'm gonna put it in God tier. They're such good microphones. They're kind of pricey. They're really pricey for what they are, but they're really good microphones. Great on a vocal. I've seen it used so much as like a bottom snare, which makes sense. It's got that really tight puller pattern. It's only going to pick up what you pointed at, which is a really nice characteristic to have, especially with like a dynamic microphone like this. So yeah, for bottom snare, it's not going to get too much bleed from everything else. It's going to do the job really well. Top snare, it also works really well. I mean, most things you pointed at, it's going to do a pretty good job, but I love it on vocals too. So 441, fantastic. Okay, Audix D6. This is my personal favorite kick drum microphone. I'm going to put it in excellent choice. It's an excellent choice for a kick drum. I don't always love it on bass cab, which is the other thing that I look for out of a mic that's like this. If it sounded better on a bass cab, I would put it in God tier, but it's as it stands, it's just my favorite kick drum microphone. So it's great. I know exactly what I'm getting. If I have access to this microphone on a kick drum, like there is a high likelihood I'm going to choose that unless I'm thinking of something else specifically. It's just a good option. I really like those mics. All right, moving on. All right, Sennheiser E906. I'll be honest, it's like in between these two here. I'm gonna put it in, it'll work. I like it on guitar cabs sometimes. It's good on bottom snare. And then the E906, not the 609. I know there's so many models and letters and numbers. They got to come up with like names like
The Infuriator.
or something. I don't know. Make something more memorable than E609 and E906. It's so easy to get those mixed up. Although I shouldn't name a microphone the Infuriator. Anyways, the E906, it has a little EQ selector in the back, which can help to tame some of the top end, like the upper mid bump that it gets, which that can be super useful. So it'll work. I like it on guitar cabs, on the right source, bottom snare. It'll do the job. Okay. Beyer Dynamic. This is the M201. I'm going to put it in God tier. I think that these microphones can sound great. Place it in a lot of spots that you would put an SM57 and just experience the added fidelity and like kind of like taking that frequency range and just extending it out a little bit more. You get a little bit more clarity and detail and nuance. These things just sound good. Guitar cabs, snare drums. I've even seen people use this in the place of where they would typically put like a small diaphragm condenser. It can do that job pretty well too. So not a bad little dynamic microphone. A little pricey, like I think around $500, but great microphones. Great microphones. Okay, moving on. Sennheiser 421. These are a classic, right? And they're a classic for a reason. I'm going to confidently put it in excellent choice, Bob. Sennheiser 421 guitar cabs, it's great. Toms, a classic choice for toms. You see that microphone on toms all the time. It's even good on a vocal. Like there's an artist, Patrick Watson, who uses that as like his vocal mic a lot, and it sounds super cool. It just has a sound and a vibe that's really nice. On guitar cabs, it can be a little scooped and you can kind of get a little bit of that sizzle on the top end. But generally speaking, it is a good option. It is a good option to have. And then Matt, the guy that was here with me on the last video that we did, which was the engineers react to viral memes, he likes to use it on horns. And so, yeah. Like it's a good workhorse of a mic. Can't go wrong. Excellent choice. All right, moving on. RE20. I mean, for me, it's God tier. I'm just going to put it right up there. In a lot of ways, it doesn't sound like the SM57, but in a lot of ways, it kind of is SM57-esque in the sense, again, it doesn't sound like the SM57 in a sense because it can be used on so many different sources. Guitar cabs, it'll do pretty good there. I actually like it a lot on guitar cabs. Vocals, underrated microphone for vocals. Like as a lead vocal microphone, Electro-Voice, when they made this, they made it to be the condenser killer. They wanted a dynamic microphone that could compete with like condenser microphones with like the detail and clarity and like nuance that they offer. And so they made this microphone and it's great. It also really has that bottom end to that microphone that it can really retain all that low end information, which is also super helpful. So as a kick mic, it can work. It's super good on bass cab. It's one of my favorite bass cab mics. Maybe my favorite depending on the job, but it's really good for that. God tier. Okay. Shure Beta 52. Sure. Okay. Yeah, this is another one that's kind of in between. I'm going to go excellent choice. I like it on kick. I do. I think it sounds good on kick drum. I like it on bass cab, especially if it's like a modern, dirty, gritty bass part, like with like a little bit of drive and like some zipper tones. You know what I'm talking about? Like that kind of sound. I really like the Beta 52, just right dead center of the dust cap on a lot of different bass cabs. That can sound really good. So I like that one a lot for that. So excellent choice. Excellent choice. SM7B, another classic. Listen, it's overused, but when it's done right, The SM7B is a podcast mic. There's a reason why it's a standard. It does sound really good. Like when you hear it mixed well and recorded well, those things sound great. As a vocal microphone, great. As a microphone on a snare drum, great. A lot of people I've seen recently use it on hi-hats. Great. Excellent choice. I mean, what else can you say? It's the Shure SM7B. All right, so the Shure, the 55 SH or SH55, I can't, it's the letters and numbers thing again. These microphones are, I don't know, they're fine. I just haven't really found a job for that microphone. Like, that's the thing. It's the old saying goes, is there's no such thing as a bad microphone. You just haven't found a use for it yet. I have not found a use for it yet. It's, from what I recall, it sounds a little dark and a little bit lower output. There's just nothing that excites me about it. It's fine. It'll work, but it's mostly an aesthetics thing. So I guess in that case, it has a job, and that is in the Creed music videos. But that's the only thing I could really see using it for. I haven't really found a use. If you have, like, let me know. Like, I just haven't. But it's fine. It'll work. It's not offensive sounding. I just haven't really gravitated towards it for anything, really. So, yeah. All right, moving on. The Bullet Mic from Shure. I don't know, like, the actual model name or number or whatever it is. But these little green Bullet mics, it'll work. It's, you know, it's got one job is kind of how you can do creative stuff with it, like as an effect. You use the Bullet microphone with the harmonica and you plug it into the amp and you crank up the amp and you get that distorted harmonica tone, and that's what it does. And it does that sound well. So it'll work, but I don't know, just outside of that, and then maybe like a kind of an affected vocal kind of sound, like, then yeah, it can work for that too. But everything else, it's got the one job. It does it fine. Okay. Procaster. The Procaster is like the big brother to the Podmic. I'm going to put it in, it'll work. It'll work. It's fine. Like, I would say it's better than the Podmic, if you ask me. If you ask a lot of people, they feel the same. It's same kind of deal though. Like, the top end, because it's a Rode, it doesn't always agree with the vocals or the voice that's using it, but it tends to disagree less often than the Podmic does, in my opinion. Like the Podmic, it rolls off a little sooner, and it also just sounds a little bit more, I don't know, papery, like I was saying. The top end on the Procaster, it's extended out a little bit further, but it's not as, like, offensive, if that makes any sense. Like, my experience with that mic is a little bit better. So for a podcast, broadcast style microphone, I'll put it in the, it'll work. It still takes a little bit of work to get there, but it'll do the job. All right, Shure MV7. God, this is starting to, every mic is in this category. Okay, there it is. It'll work. Same kind of deal. It's better than the Podmic. I wouldn't feel right if I put it there next to the Podmic, but it's not a phenomenal microphone by any means. I mean, it's fine. It does the job. It's got XLR, it's got USB, and because of that extra connectivity, it gains it a few extra points. So there you go. It's okay. It's fine. Honestly, if it was between this and like an SM58, again, I might choose the SM58. That might work better. But they were going for the aesthetics of the SM7B while giving you a okay-ish microphone. It's good. It's fine. It'll work. Moving on. Okay, Shure PG56. I'm going to put it there. Listen, I owned these microphones. When I first started recording, I got a Presonus, I'm always going to say it wrong, Firebox or Firepod, the 8-channel thing. And I also got like the Shure PG, which I think is like performance gear, like drum mic kit. And so those PG56 microphones I used as like on like toms, like clipped onto toms, they were mostly fine. Like honestly, I should give them a higher rating, but when I bought, I think it was just 2 more SM57s, I never touched those again. I was so done with using them. Like they just didn't really give me the sound I was going for, you know? Like there's something about it that just, it wasn't what I wanted. And so when I was done with it, I was just done with it. And so for me, it's just at the bottom. But again, if you have it and you're excited about it, I'm excited for you. They're certainly not terrible microphones. I'm just, you know, I used it as my only mics for toms for like a year and I was just done with them. So yeah. Okay. This one's kind of an interesting one. This is the Unidyne, which is like the vintage Shure. I'm like in between these two again. In some instances, it works a lot better than an SM57, and in others, not as well. They're like a vintage, like SM57 looking microphone. They do sound a little different, a little bit warmer, I would say. Not as much of like the 5K like spike that the SM57 has, which again, the SM57, the 5K spike can work for you sometimes. So, I'm going to put it in excellent choice, Bob. It's good. When it works, it works. When it works, it works. It's a good microphone. I really like it on guitar cabs. If I had more uses for it outside of that, I might put it up higher, but that's really the only place where I'm like, oh yeah, Unidyne all the way. Like guitar cab sounds great. Snare drum again, it's fine. Yeah, it sounds good. Okay. SM58. I mean, just for the legend in like what it is, like it's the $110 microphone. If you've ever gone to a concert, you've heard this microphone. Like period, end of story. They're legendary mics. And for that reason, and maybe that reason alone, God tier. I mean, I'm pretty sure before I had an SM57, I had an SM58 because I was in a band and I needed something for rehearsal. And yeah, SM58, like everybody had one, used one, uses one, still has one. Like they're great mics. You can't really go wrong with them, especially for live sound. For recording, I don't know, talkback mics. But it's interesting though, because like one of the things that always ended up happening at one of the studios that I worked at was we would put like a couple of mics on the guitar cab. And then in that room where we had the guitar player and the guitar amp, we would put a talkback mic, you know, just at like head level so that they could talk into the mic and speak to their bandmates. And they would like sit down and then the microphone would still be on like in the room at like head level. And we would end up blending that into the recording because it kind of gave the perspective of what the guitar player heard while they were standing a few feet away from their amp and like higher up. Like it was kind of cool. I used the sound of that mic often, actually. So great. I like the SM58. They're good mics. Like, yeah. Okay. This one is the Telefunken. This is the M80. Which is excellent. I mean, it's kind of a similar thing to the SM58. It's a live sound for the most part, a handheld dynamic microphone. But it's, I think, hyper-cardioid. It might be hyper-cardioid, super-cardioid, one of the two. Great for off-axis rejection. These are awesome. They also sound really good, too. So, again, for like the studio recording world, maybe not as many uses, but yeah, they do sound good. So, excellent choice. And then last but not least, this guy, I had one, and it's like the Electro-Voice, maybe it's the 566. I'll have to look, but I got one for free with a tape machine that I bought. Like I bought like this old 2-track tape machine, and it came with this old dynamic microphone from Electro-Voice. And I ended up using it often as just like a weird layer. They're low output. They don't exactly have the single greatest sound you've ever heard. It's kind of like you took a high pass and low pass and you just kind of squished in the frequency range that it represents. But as like a room mic or things like that, it was actually kind of cool sometimes. I'm going to put it in, it'll work. There wasn't like any one particular job that was like, oh, that's a phenomenal microphone, and it's like, it's the best one. But it was fun to play with, and it'll work. It'll do the job. So there you go. All right. If you enjoyed this tier list, please don't hesitate to press all the buttons down below. You know how this goes. This is the internet, and the currency of the internet is the attention you give. So if you made it this far in the video, please consider subscribing. I make videos about twice a week. I've got some videos coming up in the near future, including a U87 shootout, which is why I'm using this microphone today as opposed to the Dockman that I have been using in the past. This is the Roswell. This is the Mini K87. So this is going to be featured along with the United Studio Technologies, along with the Dockman, along with the Neumann U87. So I'm going to do a big shootout video. That's going to come up soon. And a couple other things too. I'm actually going out of town next week, so I'm gonna make a overrated, underrated, and I'm gonna put that out later this week, just because those are super easy for me to make, and I'm on a little bit of like crunch time this week. But yeah, if you like this video, if you want to see more, just click the like and subscribe. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one.